my smartness in making the moves I made that were impossible to make, I don't fucking talk about them before I make them. One time there was one guy got caught because he was on a television show. He said, yeah, and he was explaining how they're going to rob the fucking bank. Guess what happened when he went to rob the bank? They were waiting for him. Because he had explained the holes that he had seen in their work. In the bank, you know, the guy goes off this time and I go there, and I'm just going to go to there. And then when he's there, he's surprised that
Well, so how did you do it?
I kept my mouth shut. What happens is, you are obviously a very astute and hard-working person, but you don't know what went on. And they're shortening it. They left out all the parts.
Okay.
Left out all the parts. So Gordon Parks made a movie, and you talk about serendipity. When Ozzy made a movie, he made a movie based on a famous writer, and a writer who I had taken his novel and turned it into a comic strip in the biggest French paper of which I worked, and Ali Kitty. And I took Chester Hymes's one of Chester Hymes's stories. He won, and that was the story they used for his sex. However, the next thing that, as I calculated things, these people weren't really in Hollywood. They were not allowed to shoot in Hollywood per se. Everybody was off into some boondock somewhere to shoot their movie. And I thought the next step to make was to shoot in Hollywood. And I kept getting offers, and I said I would take it if I could shoot it in Hollywood. That was my next step. That's why I shot Watermelon Man in Hollywood, but I had to shoot in Hollywood. I said, okay. And then in Hollywood, I had a length of time to shoot the film, etc., etc. How long, you know a bit about film, how long a time would you give somebody to shoot a feature film?
Well, I know how long you had, but I mean, usually it takes 2 months to make a feature film, or 3 months.
How many days was that?
90?
Yeah. I had 23. Because I was set up to lose, or to have more. Well, we had to help him out. I shot it in 21. Read what it says. It says what I got on my mind. You bled my mama, you bled my papa, but you won't bleed me. And that answers, the questions, the very interesting questions you were asking about, well, what do you think of this and that? Hey, ain't gonna bleed me.
Yes, sister, right there.
Are you finding that
We can't hear you.
this is, 30-something years later, and are we still in the same boat?
Well, yeah, there's a big cinematic slave ship. We still rowing this middle passage. But we have Skittles and popcorn. Look, the truth is that there's no head of any studio that's a woman. There's no head of any studio that is a person of color. So if you want to make a movie, you got to go past that jury that is not of your peers. And they're going to tell you what your people want. And I wanted to say, well, the A story really was about a brother with David versus the Goliath of the studio system. And the B story was just a complex relationship with a kid. Well, they couldn't get their minds around that. So, it's my dad said once, new cake, no, same cake, new icing. Right. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it sort of follows her question, but the business of distributorships, picking up a movie and then blasted in all over the country. That's still happening. I mean, it's still hard to get that to happen, isn't it?
Yeah, not only the studios are all in white hands, also the distributorship. Luckily, there are just a few distributors a little smarter, a little more sensitive, and Sony Classics picked up the film in Toronto. But there was no guarantee of that. You've got to be willing to take that risk. When Sweetback came out, only 2 theaters in the entire United States would show the movie. But this is what ballot, the voting with your feet, voting at the box office will do. When Sweetback broke records, as this is a real true deal. The first night they opened the mezzanine, which they hadn't opened in 15 years. Suddenly, I was Mel Baby again. Everybody was calling me, and then the film spread. It didn't spread by any magic, except the magic that we don't believe in. But the magic is, you are somebody. If you like something and you show, then it changes everything. Because the system has an Achilles pocketbook. If you can make something viable, even if they don't want to carry it, they will carry it as long as it makes money.
Any other question?
No, one thing I'd like to say, the whole guy. One thing I'd like to say is that the really important thing to me in this film is that what you're doing is actually giving history of a period too. See, and even though the dog was named Nixon, we got a dog named Bush. So it comes around.